My name is Shane Hurlbut. I am an ASC member, and I grew up on a 300-acre farm in upstate New York. My dad was a professor's assistant at Cornell, and my mom was a sixth grade school teacher. And, you know, my hard work ethic basically came from them. Rob Cohen saw a music video that I shot and asked me to come in, and that's how I started shooting the Rat Pack. So he brought me in, and I met with HBO, and then, you know, that was my first narrative piece. With the Canon 5D, it defies the norm. It is. It's cheaper to use, and it's the greenest technology out there. I mean, you think about it. On Act of Valor, we were using a 40-person crew that on any normal movie would have been 180. I was using a 10-ton truck instead of two 40-footers. So I'm reducing my transportation budget. I'm reducing fuel. I'm using less lights. I'm recording onto a recycled card that we recycle on a daily basis. I'm not using chemicals to develop or process it. I'm not using HD cam deck space or plastics or anything like that. Because of my crew size, I'm using less water, less fuel, less everything. It's a whole ripple effect. Just because you use this camera system and its green eco footprint is extraordinary, it ripples throughout the whole budget plan to be able to lower your costs at a third to a half. When we went forward with the last 3 minutes, I mean, the idea was this first person kind of perspective. It was all through Williams's eyes, right? Well, there's not a better camera out there to be able to do first person POV, you know, and the compact nature of the camera, the using the Canon lenses that have amazing macro focus on them also, very, you know, the minimal focus on them is like, you know, some of them are like 9 inches. You know, that kind of stuff doesn't exist in cinema lenses unless you go with, you know, close focus lenses specifically. So, you know, a lot of this stuff was very close, very intimate. You know, coming out and seeing this hand, you know, stroke up, you know, Eli's, you know, arm, and seeing the sand shards that are on her arm, and then she turns to camera and looks at us. You know, the camera is like, you know, 18 inches, 10 inches away from her, that intimacy that you get. And then she rolls out and heads into the ocean, and then, you know, we get up with her and you know, walk down in there. So, you know, this camera was delivering, one, the compact nature, and two, the amazing, the intimacy and where we could position it, which you could not do with a 35mm camera. I also wanted to prove a lot of people wrong in regards to using this thing in day exteriors. You know, everyone, anything you see out there is usually nighttime. You know, anyone's always using any short film you're seeing is a lot of night exteriors. Well, I wanted to show that I could deliver beautiful photography in the blazing daylight in contrasty situations. Like when the dad is throwing the camera, he was physically heaving the camera in the air and catching it. That was done in the shade of 2 monstrous oak trees with blazing sun hitting all of the green grass and everything in the background. These are like extreme conditions, and I wanted to see how well it would perform, and it did very well. I think it's the closest thing that has come out that looks the closest to film, and I call it digital film, because its depth of field is, I feel, is a true depth of field. It's not like the HD 2/3 chip, 35mm chip that you find in a lot of the other you know, competitors' cameras. I feel that depth of field that they're generating is kind of fake and false. This is a camera that I hope really turns, one, the independent film market on itself, and eventually studios and major feature films, because there's so much benefit to this platform to be able to bring stories that never would have seen the light of day to life. And that's what's so exciting to me about this camera system, is you get something that looks and feels like 35 millimeter, has the organic qualities of that in a price package as small as $2,700, and with a little support and everything, your camera package is a third of what it would cost if you were doing any of the other ones. And then your media and how you handle it in the back end of the post process could be processed in the garage, you know. So it really is, I think, is going to start to really inspire the independent filmmaker, and I think we're going to start to see, and I'll hope, a huge influx of movies that never would have been made in the studio system, but they gain traction and they're brought to the big screen, and people are going to, you know, talent's going to be found that never would have been discovered, new actors, new faces, new directors, new cinematographers. I think it's going to fuel a whole new wave that really is going to excite and inspire and continue to educate.